Hi, everybody. This is Karen Moss from the Lockheed Martin Leadership Institute at Miami University. And we're doing a series with our alumni called Where Are They Now? And we're reaching out to some of them and just seeing what they've been up to since they graduated from Miami and received their certificate from the Leadership Institute. And today I'm thrilled to be here with Jake Miller. Jake Miller, I think you graduated, was it 2016?
Yeah, 2016. And yeah,
Okay.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. It's a pleasure. And he was in cohort 3, the third cohort from the Leadership Institute. And so just to get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, Jake, and what you've been doing since you graduated.
Yeah, sure thing. So as you mentioned, I graduated in 2016 and immediately started with Synchrony. Back then it was Synchrony Financial, right in that following summer. I've been there ever since. Kind of had a lot of different jobs between now and then. I was actually part of their rotational leadership program as well. So kind of hopped from leadership program to leadership program there. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of great different experiences with Synchrony, exposure to a lot of different parts of the business. And now I've been in my longest role with them for the past year and a half in their care credit branch, working as a solutions architect in the technology department for care credit, which is our kind of medical credit card offering.
Okay. And so when you transitioned from college to career, what do you think what were some of the biggest obstacles that you faced in that transition?
Yeah, so I think I had a somewhat unique transition because I went from mechanical engineering degree, which is what I studied at Miami, to a more IT-oriented space with Synchrony. So I didn't have a ton of background in any sort of the computer science classes at Miami aside from what was required as part of my major. So that was a big first adjustment, was just skill set. I was really more geared towards mechanical engineering and fluids and thermodynamics and all that, not so much for object-oriented programming and the things that come with computer science courses. So that was the first transition. The other piece was really just the getting used to kind of a large corporate environment. I really focused more on undergraduate research at Miami. That's what I did in some of my summers. So I didn't have really a lot of exposure to what it was like working for a large company or really working in any sort of corporate environments. And so that was a big adjustment as well. But one I think actually the Leadership Institute really helped me transition to and made that a lot easier than I think it would have been otherwise.
Okay, so the third question, actually, we can maybe focus in a little bit more on what you just said, because you were saying that was like a big change for you. But what in that sense of how did you embrace that change? That, okay, so now you've been used to, like you said, research and that, and now you're in corporate. What was the biggest thing, do you think, the biggest change there?
Yeah, it was the mindset, right? So with research and all that, and really more academia focused, things move a bit slower. You're focused a lot more on repeatability and really just kind of the minutia of repeating experiments day in and day out. Corporate space moves a lot faster, and priorities are a lot different, right? It's about obviously returns and value you add to the market and getting products out there quickly and servicing your customers. So very, very different, I think, mindsets. One from, again, just that academia mindset of, just producing something new and novel to producing something for clients and customers, and the additional pressure that adds, which I actually ended up enjoying quite a bit and continue to this day. I work quite a bit hand in hand with Synchrony's clients and CareCredit's clients, which is probably the most surprising thing that I enjoy more than I think I would have thought back when I was still in school. So that's been a great experience, and we got a little bit of exposure to that, I think, as part of the leadership program too, with things like Engineer Week, or what used to be Engineer Week, and treating that almost like the stakeholders in that as our clients, and getting some of that experience. It has actually translated over, albeit on a larger scale, in my new roles at Synchrony.
Well, obviously, so that we had invited you. You may have participated in the Embracing Change Summit in the spring, or you knew about it. And right before we picked that topic in the fall of last year, actually, the students did. Nobody could have known about COVID around the corner. So talk about having instant change. How has COVID, I mean, you're in tech. So was that transition difficult for you to go from your normal operations, maybe were you working in the office pretty much?
Yes, yeah, I worked in the office every day. I actually live about 5 minutes from our headquarters, so I was there day in, day out. My team is predominantly also out in Costa Mesa, California, and Kettering, Ohio. So I was used to doing a lot of travel, both out to Kettering and out to southern LA. Yeah, it was a big change. One, just not going to the office anymore. I was also part of our innovation station in Synchrony, so we had a really awesome space that we literally just finished renovating and revamping about a month before we all had to leave office. So that was a bummer. We had this awesome new space that we really haven't been able to take advantage of. And it was a big transition, right? I mean, I was actually part of the team internally that got all of our enterprise operations folks transitioned to working from home. So these are our call center representatives and folks that you call in when you have questions on your credit card bill or anything like that, which is a huge part of our company and very important for servicing our cardholders. So transitioning all several thousand of them to being able to work efficiently from home, to feel comfortable to be able to service our customers, that was a huge challenge as well. So it's something that I certainly felt, and our entire technology organization felt. When that hit, and it was just one of many things we had to kind of adjust to and adapt to, aside from just ourselves getting used to working from home, whether that meant dealing with your kids, your families, or just being
Right.
by yourself. It was definitely a huge adjustment.
Did you have any particular strategies that you employed to embrace the change, or are you pretty much like you just went with it? It had to be done. It's what you did. Or I mean, aside from the fact that you had this awesome new space that now you can't use because we're all working from home, working remotely. Was there anything else that another way or a strategy that you employed, maybe even early on, or your mindset? I know you said originally that's key in anything.
Definitely, it was I think a mindset of treating a very designated space in my apartment as my office area, and kind of sticking with the rigor of as if I were going into the office every day. Still getting up at the same time, doing my normal breakfast routine and what have you, right? And just I think maintaining that has helped a lot. There's definitely been days where I haven't been as good about that, right? And you feel it slip, and it's harder to focus throughout the day. So for me in particular, that's been my main approach on it, is just treat each day like I am going into the office. And it helps a lot with staying focused and comfortable throughout the day.
Yes, and I've heard other people have said similar things. I know your time's really valuable, and we want to let you get back to your work. But I do have another question, a final question for you. So, what did you learn in the Leadership Institute that either or seeds maybe that were planted that's made a difference in understanding just what's going on around you?
Yeah, I think the two things I always come back to when thinking about learnings from the Leadership Institute, one is focus. I think that's something we focused a lot. No pun intended there, but just kind of keeping attentive and in every aspect of my day, giving it 100% of my focus the whole time, and staying dialed in. I think that's made a huge difference, especially I work as a solutions architect, so I have to work with a lot of distributed systems and complex inner workings between systems. And so just staying focused and attentive throughout my day and everything I'm doing has, I think, been hugely beneficial for my career, particularly in the space that I'm in. And the other thing is speed. I think back to some of our highly effective methods and some of the readings we had. There's always a big emphasis on speed and not letting things block you, or finding ways around things that are blockers. I think that's incredibly important, particularly obviously in the corporate space, but even more so, I think, in the technology space, because things move so quickly and our competitors move so quickly all the time. We have to do the same and match stride. So just having that mindset of not waiting for things to come your way, and constantly pushing and finding new ways to go about creating new products or capabilities. That's really been something that's stuck with me since being in the Leadership
And
Institute.
that is super important. As you can imagine, some of the newer cohort members, they're not there yet, and so you'll come up and they'll say, "Oh well, I was waiting for so and so to get back to me." Well, but you can't do that. You can't do that in the real world. So I'm glad that that has been a benefit to you. And I just want to thank you so much, Jake, for your time. We really feel very connected to our alums, especially the ones in the first, 4 or 5 years in particular. And just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to talk with us and everything. And when we'll make sure you get a copy of the interview.
I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's always great to come back and speak and share what I've gotten out of the program, and hopefully others feel the same way. So thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Talk to you later, Jake.
Thank you.